Hey there, and welcome to Visionary Voices, a special series brought to you by Women Business Connect. This is where we sit with inspiring women in business, entrepreneurs, change makers, and visionaries who are doing incredible things with their heart, purpose, and impact. At Women Business Connect, we're all about meaningful connection, collaboration, and creating a space where women rise together. This is Women Business Connect. As a resilience strategist and leadership coach, Shairose Gulamani partner with leaders and organizations to drive clarity, elevate performance, and accelerate meaningful growth. Whether it's navigating change, scaling a business, or stepping into greater leadership, she delivers practical resilience, decision making, and performance strategies paired with a focused insight that enables confident, decisive action. Now, through keynotes, leadership sessions, and team workshop, she challenges thinking, inspire action, and deliver measurable results. Hello, Shairos. It is an honor and pleasure to have you with us today with our listeners and audience.
Hi, Hannah. It is truly an honor for me to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Right, shall we begin?
Of course, sure.
Yes. All right. Could you share a little bit about your business journey and how it all started?
Sure. Well, and for me, my journey began long before my career began. My parents were entrepreneurs. My dad owned a business for I don't know, 50 plus years.
Wow.
It was a shoe store. And so, whenever a parent owns a business, guess what? You work there, you help there. So I started my journey in entrepreneurship at a very young age. And through it, my parents modeled a lot of resilience, a lot of um, business ethic about what it takes to survive, what customer service looks like, and through that, it enticed me to do something similar. So I started my career professionally in education, and but it was in the field of business. So that's what I taught at the high school level and at the college level. And then I worked my way up to leadership positions within the educational framework, supporting some pretty complex environments.
Mm.
And I cared deeply about the work I did. I loved being a teacher, I loved being an educator, and I loved lifting my students up. And but I also had this entrepreneurial pool that just said, I'm always looking for ways to create, to do things differently, and to expand beyond what was conventional. And so over time, that entrepreneurial pool, coupled with my husband, who's an entrepreneur as well, guided me into a a life of businesses. And so we scaled cafes. We working with enterprise organizations
Mm.
to deliver products. And what I saw was that in no matter whether it was in education, whether it's in leadership, I saw really capable people, especially women who were doing incredible work. But underneath it,
Mm.
they were struggling, they were tired, they were feeling overwhelmed.
Mm.
And in many cases, they were disconnected from their actual purpose. What they had set out to do and the life they had hoped to build was now so limiting them to enjoy the joys of that life, of the work that they were doing, the labor that they were putting in.
Mm.
And and to be honest, some of that I felt myself as I was
Yes.
going through this journey of business ownership. And that realization really shifted things for me. Um, I started to want to support people within the systems that they were in, within the businesses and the entrepreneurial ventures that they were part of. And I felt called to help the people realize that they have to put themselves first, that if success is at the expense of losing themselves, then they need to question whether it's worth it. And that's really what led me now to do the work I do now as a leadership coach and as a resilience strategist.
Wow, I think that makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like you really found your lane.
I did.
Definitely with that, I mean, like 50 years of entrepreneurship, watching and doing work together. I think that's a lot. And um, so you mentioned that entrepreneurs have to put them first, and I'm pretty sure early on, as you started your business as well, there would be challenges. And what challenges did you face early on, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think my first challenge was I was coming from education and I was coming from other leadership positions, but it was working for somebody else.
Mm,
It's different when you are stepping into that entrepreneurship role and you're asked to trust yourself for you're now responsible for making everything work. The buck stops with you. And that's a completely different way of being and working and even imagining what success is going to look like because it's so dependent on you. And as you know, it's 24 by 7, right?
yeah.
Nothing stops. Nothing stops.
Yes.
So that pressure of always having to be on, to have that control and that responsibility over time it gets heavy, right? And especially for me, my husband was much more sophisticated with the business side. I was still a newbie in the sense that I this was my first time running a business, 15, 25 years ago. And so it took me some time to adjust to what that responsibility felt like. And what I found is that even though that you know that you are capable, there are so many moments when things felt really hard or uncertain that I was navigating self-doubt. I was trying to stay consistent. And I knew that no matter how hard, how uncertain, how difficult things seemed, that I had to show up. It wasn't like I
Yeah.
could call in sick. It was my business. And
Yeah.
so I had to show up. And what really helped me move through all that was the notion that I had developed over the years of knowing that when I reach my capacity, that I need to take a pause, that I need to rest, I need to recover, I need to recalibrate. And that if I don't do that, I am no good to anybody. I am going to make very bad decisions or decisions that are really reactive rather than reflective. I am not going to serve and be my best individual when I'm working with customers or my staff. And from that, I realized that there's this element that when you are operating in a business capacity, in a leadership role where you're responsible, that you have to give and you have to take some of that back and you need to take care of yourself. And that pause is what keeps you moving on because pushing through pressure is only sustainable for a very short time. But if you want long-term sustainability and you want leadership clarity, you
Mhm.
must pause more often, recover, recalibrate, and then keep going.
I can resonate so much with that. We had a conversation yesterday at a connection call,
Yeah.
and I was saying that sometimes they call me the sleeping beauty queen. because I think I am so much a lot in my head that I need like 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And that's not coming from a position where, it is like, sometimes they relate that to like depression or something like that. But I think that mental rest is so much needed in me that I just feel like, okay, that is a closure, my mental closure, and then we move to the next chapter. Is that right?
It is not only right, and it's not only needed in you, it's actually needed in all humans, and we're all humans. There is this phrase, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's called the allostatic load. And the allostatic load is when pressure continues to build and you continue to move up and you continue to add more and
Mm,
do more and
mm,
push more. And that load is fine. Our bodies and our minds are capable of that. But at some point, that allostatic load requires you to come down. It requires you to turn off and
yep.
it requires you to recover. And if that recovery never happens, that pressure gets so bent out of shape in our nervous system, in our biological body, that we then start suffering and we start seeing irritability. Our,
Mm-hmm.
our shoulders are tense. We get headaches. We
Mm,
are not patient. And we certainly do not think clearly. And we can't make really good business decisions or lead our teams the way we want them to lead. You
mm-hmm.
know that when you're in a room and if someone is dysregulated, you can
Yes.
tell. You
The
can feel
energy.
it. The energy, exactly. That energy is compromised. And until we regulate ourselves and get back to where we need to be the great leaders that we're meant to be,
Yep.
we just can't move forward. And so what you do is so wise. So wise. Kudos.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that. It's a great way of putting it. And let's move to the next segment on the deeper mission and the why behind your work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the why behind my work has come from many, many different areas. Definitely what I saw in my parents and the model of resilience that they put forth of taking care of our family, but but not just doing so. When I watched them as they grew and as they came into this new, we came as immigrants from Africa. So already there was that challenge. Then being in a new country, having two small kids, running a business, doing it, learning all of the ethics of doing business here,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But what they never let us forget is that there's always hope, that there is
Mm,
always possibility of a brighter and better future. And that stayed with me. So as I grew up, I never doubted, no matter what life threw at me, that my future was still going to be bright, that my future was still going to be great, and that I was able to get through it. And that resilience has made a lot of difference because who knew? You never know what life is going to throw at you. And
mm-hmm.
and I have, you know, been thrown a lot of curveballs. But like everyone else, it's how you manage it, how you look at it, right?
Mhm.
Those experiences, though they might have been challenging in the moment, are what has shaped my character. It has made me so strong. It has made me resilient. It has made me see life as something worthwhile to live for, right?
Yep.
It has not weakened me. And that is the message that the work I do right now is what I want others to understand. That yes, our lives, our livelihoods, our work, our families, our whatever it is that we are involved with is going to be pressureful, but that does not need to erode you. that can actually build you. And if you look at it and if you carry it and you understand it and you manage it, just like anything else we learn, when we know something and we're more aware of it and we pay attention to that, we become better at it. Pressure is
Yes.
no difference. It's
Yes.
not something that we can, it doesn't need to define us. It can actually refine us, right? And it can give us that inner capacity to do and meet our goals and live our dreams. And I just think I want others to experience that, right?
Yeah.
I did as a small child watching my parents. I did as a young adult when I was teaching business in college, and I'm seeing all these entrepreneurs in my class learning and telling and sharing stories, and I'm thinking, wow. And then me becoming an entrepreneur and working in that system and scaling to 3 cafes and 3 businesses and doing all of that stuff. I know that what sometimes feels so heavy and that we want to just give up, we don't have to. We are so much stronger than we really realize. And I want to lift people up. I want to let leaders and high performers and founders and anybody who's feeling that pressure to know they can manage it. They can rise above it, and it really can become their superpower.
Right. It hit me right here. Oh my
Yay!
God. Right. And I'm a little bit emotional because,
Oh,
it makes me reconnect with my own why. And it's like, this is exactly what I'm doing, like I'm doing what I'm doing because of people like you and me, so we just want entrepreneurs to shine, women to shine the way that they can be, and right, I could see tears in your eyes, and I'm cheering too. God. Okay. Right. Okay. So tell us the area of your expertise, and you've shared a little bit of that, and like why is it so important in today's business world?
I think today's leaders are expected to do so much more. They
Mhm.
have to carry so much responsibility. They're under constant pressure. And when they are, they're very capable. When you see executives and you look at them, you think, wow, they're so polished. They're so smart. They're so capable. And they are.
Mhm.
And they are. And on the externally, everything looks great. But internally, I've worked with my clients and they have shared with me. They have been vulnerable and they have said, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of carrying this responsibility. I know I'm capable, but there are days when I just don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's where that allostatic load comes in. They shouldn't, because it's our bodies, our minds, our nervous systems are not sustained to carry this load forever without rest and recovery. Rest and recovery has to be built in to what we do, no matter what it is, right? For athletes, when they're performing and they're expected to train and to do well and to excel, right? For business leaders and CEOs who have to carry the weight of their whole organization onto their shoulders and make decisions that not only impact them, but impact other families and staff members and their teams and everybody else.
Yeah.
And they can't look like they can't handle it. But this is where I see the disconnect. Being under pressure is not a weakness. Being under pressure is an expectation that all of us should have. It's going to be there. It is not something it's only for the poor or the rich. It's pressure has no discernment. It's for
Yes.
everybody. It happens to all of us. The stresses of life are upon all of us. But it's the way we handle it, the way we're intentional about how we're going to manage it with the clarity and the capacity that we build, right? When we do that, then we take that pressure and we make it into our power because we do not let it destroy us. We allow it to become our inner strength. This concept of inner capacity gets stronger and stronger and stronger the more you build. I use this metaphor of a diamond. You know, one of the ingredients for diamond is carbon, and carbon, that ingredient of carbon, creates either a diamond or dust. It's the same ingredient, but out of it comes carbon, a diamond or dust. So we need to choose which one do we want to be, right? Because it's the pressure is the same. It's how we're going to now build that resilience and that structure that a diamond allows through intense heat, that structure that it stays, that structure for humans is equivalent to what's called resilience. And when we have that resilience, when we have that structure of knowing we can do this, we can so manage this, we are so much greater than this pressure. When we do that, we become that diamond. And so I think my why is letting people understand because we hear about this in the news. We see it within our circles of friends and businesses that people give up. They let that pressure build so much that they never get a chance to come down. And when that happens, it starts leaking into their health, into their relationships, into their performance. And then it's like, what's going on? How did I
Yeah.
get here?
Mhm.
I know how you got there. I want to share that with you. And I know how you can get out of it so that you don't have to be, faced with these adversities of health challenges when your nervous system is just so done. It just can't do any more for you because you have let that dis-ease, which is of pressure building,
Yeah.
and you've caused it to become a disease. And we don't want that. So we really, really want to make sure that in leadership, and for today's leaders especially, because life is not getting easier with with AI, with all of the technological advances, with everything becoming faster, better, smarter, whatever. We are keeping up.
Mhm.
They say that AI makes your life easier. It does in some aspects, but when you actually talk to those who are in the world of AI and everything they're doing, and I say, so has it brought you time back? And they've told me, no, it hasn't. It's created more work for them because
Yeah.
now that time that they saved here is now being utilized elsewhere. So they're still doing the same things, but they're doing more of it,
Yeah.
right? They might be doing it better, maybe faster, more effective and efficient, but it hasn't deleted their stress level, right? It's still there. So I think it's becoming more and more important for us to know where we're at and how to make sure that we never get to a place where that pressure really, really works against us and starts, I call it the hidden costs, starts costing us ourselves.
I think I woke up today with a lot of golden nuggets, right? And that is so important. I think it is such an important reminder to everyone listening and watching us today. Um, yeah. What you've been through watching your parents and with your partner itself and now you are running the business. That number of years is so long. I think it's all your life, right? And what legacy are you working to build through this business?
I think I've been really intentional about, I love this question because I've given it a lot of thought. I've been really intentional about building a legacy that reduces what strong leadership looks like. For a long time, leadership has been associated with pressure, with power, with productivity, with pushing through. And and it doesn't have to be that way. I actually want to shift the narrative so that leadership is more about something that's sustainable, more human, and more aligned. So often, I have friends who have their own businesses, so many of them. And what they keep telling me is this is not what I thought my life was going to be like. When I
Mm,
started with my dream, when I wanted to do this, I had a vision, and this is not the life I'm living, which means that they're in misalignment. This is not the work that they set out to do. This is not the dream that they wanted. They're getting so caught up in the cyclone of doing business, of just day to day, just pushing through, working harder, doing more, that they never get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. That is not what they signed up for. And so I want to shift what strong leadership looks like. I want to shift what it means to be successful, but not to lose yourself in it, right? I want success to be part of your well-being so that we can we can enjoy what we're doing. We can make a difference. We can be impactful, but we don't have to do it at the cost of ourselves or our team, right?
mhm,
It's businesses who don't have a culture that supports alignment, leadership, sustainability, clarity, capacity building. Those businesses and those environments can become very toxic very fast, right? And so that's what I want to do. I want to leave a legacy where I can reshift that narrative of what a strong leader looks like. And, at the end of the day, my work is about helping people. And I want them to build success, but I want them to build success in a way that it is sustainable, right? That they can hold on to it, that they can enjoy it, that they have clarity in their vision, and that they're not compromising their values. You know, I have clients who say to me, gosh, I work so hard that I want to give the best part to my family, but what they get is what's left of me. And I'm thinking, that's horrid. Like that's no way to live, right? And it doesn't have to be, but it's just the education and the awareness of creating to say pressure is a really real thing. It's not something we can get away from. But how we become aware of it and appreciate our body and our minds on what it is doing. I mean, it's our bodies are super resilient. But just like anything else, it can only take so much. It needs the rest, it needs the recovery. No one can just keep going. You can't just keep adding it, right?
yeah.
Our bodies and our minds are no different. And so that's where I want, that's what I'd like to do is to think about my clients, who I am now working with, who I hope to work with in the future, that what will happen when I go away, when I'm gone and it's beyond me? What kind of legacy am I leaving? Right? And I want those clients to be the ones who lead differently, who carry responsibility differently, who build healthy environments in the places of work where they are leaders, right? I want them to be supportive. I want their leadership to be sustainable. I want there to be self-care and self-love in the ethics of doing business.
Mhm.
No one talks about self-care and
Yes.
self-love and the ethics of doing business. It's a foreign subject, but if you think about it, imagine a world, imagine a business, right? An organization that goes with that culture. How vibrant it could be, how wonderfully successful it can be without the hidden costs of health and relationships and performance, that people are actually happy to come to work, right? They're
Yeah.
not burnt out.
Mhm.
So if I can do that and create a ripple effect, then the work I'm doing is meaningful.
I'm sure it'll get there, and it already got somewhere. I'm pretty sure because I've seen you. So you were at the circle activation, right? The last meeting
Yes.
we were at, and you saw what happened, and I think we should have more of that. But I'd like to hear from you as an expert. What do you wish? What is something that you wish more women in business talk about openly in leadership? Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you for asking that. I wish that there was actually more conversations about capacity. People don't really understand what capacity is. They focus on growth, they focus on scaling and achievement. Achievement is so big, right? Who's making the most money? Who's doing it the better way? What There's so much focus on achievement, but not enough on what actually it takes to get there, right? Which is that internal capacity to sustain that level of success. Because success doesn't just come. With success, there has to be that recognition that in order for me to achieve this, I am I am going to have to make sure that I'm not compromising myself in that journey towards that, right? That I am taking care of me. I am taking care of those I love. I'm taking care of my team. There's so many different people in the inner circle, in the outer circle that you are responsible for. And if you don't pay attention to that level of success that comes, um, and you don't realize what it's costing you if you don't, take the time to understand the neurological consequences of not dealing with pressure, not only for yourself, but for your team members. Something's going to have to give. And so I see women who are navigating expectations. They're doing multiple tasks. They're constantly visible, and they're operating at levels quite often that are beyond their limits. And the reason I know that is I did that. In my first year of business, I
Yeah.
knew, I knew that this was, I had two young children and I was VP of my business. I had a staff of about 16, and then we decided to do another revenue stream where we started to work with the Vivito wholesale and distribution. So now I'm working with enterprise organizations like Microsoft and Amazon and Google and Seattle University and Columbia Tower and the like. And people would come to me and say, I don't know how you do it. And I would just think, yeah, it's easy. It's not easy. It's hard, but I'm doing it. But what I was doing was I was overriding my limits. And you can do that to a certain point, but eventually it catches up. And it did. It
Mm.
caught up to me.
Mm.
And I had to take a back seat for a little bit because I got a health issue and I had to deal with that, right? But in some ways it was the best thing that happened to me because it opened my eyes to what is really important. Do I want to build a business and be so successful and lose myself in it? Heck no. That never happened again. Because when I could see that I was being stretched, I knew that I had to take rest and recovery. I
Yeah.
had to recalibrate so that I could continue to move on. And the more I did that, and this is the beauty, Hannah, the more you do that, you go through that cycle and you repeat and you repeat. You get there and then you go down. You get up and you go down. That's the resilience you're building.
Mhm.
That is the resilience that transforms pressure into power. It gives you that inner strength and that capability of managing a lot, but not doing it at a cost that is dear to you.
I get it. Ah, huh, right? So not
Yeah,
at a cost, yeah, not at a cost to yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if more women just talked about it, two things would happen. I think a lot of women don't talk about it. One reason is they think it's them, that it's not happening to other people. And that's just not true. As I said, pressure is everywhere and to everyone. But people feel like, oh no, this is me. And if I talk about it, if I try and get help about this, it's going to make me look weak. And already women are struggling about keeping up, right? To
Yeah.
maintain their capacity and their capability and their competency, right? And so they feel like a man wouldn't say this, or a man could do this. I can do this too. And it's just not true. We all need to talk about it. We all need to really say the truth, because in that shows that we can support one another, right? That there's no shame in saying that I'm so tired. I just want to be off for the next 24 hours. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
For you for realizing that.
I remember a time when you know, I think we were having meetings, and when you said good for you, it reminded me of what Dr. Muhiba said to me. When I said, Dr. Muhiba, I think I'm gonna take a break today. I am not at my best. I'm not 100%. You're gonna lead the meeting. And then after, she just took over, but after that she told me, good for you. That was an informed decision. And in leadership, um I think more people should do that. it
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is okay to delegate, and it is okay for you to have that self-awareness. If I am not 100%, if just 80% or 60%, or you're off somewhere, or you're having something in your mind and you're not being able to give your best, then delegate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What you did was you did a self-check, right? How many times do we check in with our spouses? Hey, honey, are you okay? How many times do we check in with our children? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Is everything okay? Are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? How many times do we do that with our friends and our colleagues? All the time. We
Yes.
care. Well, why don't we give that self-love to us, right? I have
Yes.
this thing called self-love shots
Mm.
where I say every day you need to give yourself a self-love shot. It can
Yeah.
look like disengaging from here,
Yeah.
maybe for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm not going to look at my phone. That's it. It's
Yeah.
put away. Going for a walk, being in nature, calling a friend or a family member that you haven't spoken to a long time, and just telling them how much they mean to you. And I'm pretty sure they're going to say the same back.
Yeah.
And, and we don't do that enough
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves. We do it for everyone around us, which is beautiful. But aren't we also deserving of that?
Yeah.
And if we did
Absolutely.
that, imagine the kind of leaders we would be. So grounded, so clear, and so
Yeah.
capable. Our capacity to meet life and its challenges would be so much greater. And success would not come at the cost of losing ourselves.
So success shouldn't cost you yourself. Thank you so much for that. Yes. How can the audience connect with you and work with you?
Yeah, no, that's lovely. They can definitely connect with me on my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram handle, by the way, is calm is the new flex, because calm is the new flex. It is the inner strength that a lot of us in this busy, hustling world need more of. But when they connect with me on that social media, I really want them not just to follow me. I don't just want them to like me. I really want them to interact. If something resonates, I invite you. Think about it. Reflect on the leadership or the resilience or the growth, thoughts that I'm providing you with, right? Think about it, reflect on it, and integrate them, if possible, in your businesses, in your leadership. See what happens, what shifts, right? What difference does it make, even if it's once or twice? And the more you do it, you not only get better at it, but you're now building that inner capacity. You're really building that resilience. That's going to make you shine like that diamond, right? And so I want you to go beyond just following me or liking me. Comment, tell me what you think, right?
Yes,
I really want to learn from you because we're all in this together. There's not a me here and a you there. We're together. It's a partnership.
yes,
So work with me and I'll work with you. And if you want to go deeper, connect with me. I would love to be your leadership coach or your resilience strategist, or just to be on your side, cheering you on and supporting you and holding you accountable so that you never forget self-love,
yes,
self-trust, and just knowing that you yourself are the most important thing in this equation of leadership and business.
yes. Well, I like to echo your words. Self-love shouldn't cost you yourself. And no,
Success.
success shouldn't cost you yourself, right?
Yeah,
And shine like a diamond.
there
That's
you go.
beautiful, right? So thank you so much, Shiros, from here. It's been lovely and it's such a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you for sharing your insights and being part of Women Business Connect Global Community.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for having me and for allowing me to share my passion with your audience.
All
And
right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.